Switching gears for now, Russia and Ukraine are unrelenting. The two sides continuing to strike each other despite competing self-imposed ceasefires in the run-up to the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow. Moscow, meanwhile, has threatened Kiev's decision-making centers of retaliatory strikes, while Zelensky says the fate of Moscow's main parade now depends on Ukraine. The big question is whether Ukraine will actually defy Russia's ceasefire. Our next report getting you the complete story.
The war drums are growing louder. Missiles and drones are raining on both sides. Russia and Ukraine are hammering each other with relentless strikes, despite competing ceasefires. Moscow has bombarded Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv, in its latest assault. Ukrainian authorities claim Russian drone strikes lit up the skyline, leaving civilians scrambling for life. But Russia maintains it never targeted civilians or civilian-related infrastructure across Ukraine. Zelensky accuses Moscow of ignoring a proposed ceasefire while continuing large-scale strikes across Ukraine. He has issued a stern warning to Russia, saying Kyiv will respond fairly to Russia's ongoing attacks.
Україна буде діяти дзеркально. Залежно від ситуації вночі.
Ukraine will act in kind. Depending on the situation overnight and tomorrow, we will also determine our fully justified responses. Russia has received from us a clear proposal on silence of the guns and diplomacy and knows how to contact Ukraine or our partners in order to coordinate the details. If the one person in Moscow who cannot live without war cares only about one parade and nothing else, that's a different story.
Цікавить тільки один парад і більше нічого, то це інша справа.
Ukraine is striking back hard. Kyiv has reportedly launched a massive 347 drone blitz, targeting a military logistics hub near Moscow. This is one of the biggest aerial assaults by Ukraine in the last 4 years. The deep strikes by Ukraine inside Russia over the past few days has put Russian authorities on their toes. The Kremlin has intensified security as the country prepares to host the high-profile Victory Day celebrations, marking the anniversary of victory in World War II. Moscow has been fortified. Russian National Guard soldiers and armed Interior Ministry police have been deployed across key locations. Extra security measures have been put in place for Putin in case Ukraine carried out strikes on May 9th. Russia has scaled back celebrations this year. Tanks and missiles will not roll through the Red Square for the first time in almost 2 decades. A decision that has been taken after Ukraine launched drone attacks as far away as the Urals. Russia has drawn a fresh red line for Ukraine. Moscow has threatened Kyiv's decision-making centers of retaliatory attacks if Ukraine strikes Moscow during Victory Day celebrations.
The Russian Foreign Ministry strongly urges the authorities of your country, the leadership of your organization, to treat this statement with the utmost responsibility and to ensure the advance evacuation from the city of Kyiv of personnel of diplomatic and other missions, as well as citizens, in view of the inevitability of a retaliatory strike by the armed forces of the Russian Federation against Kyiv.
МИД России настоятельно призывает власти.
Zelensky is defiant. He has sent out a blunt message saying Russia's military parade depends on Ukraine. The Ukrainian president has accused Moscow of rejecting Kyiv's ceasefire proposal and continuing attacks across multiple regions. Ukraine and Russia have traded fire 1,820 times after Putin announced ceasefire on May 4th in the run-up to Victory Day. As the fighting rages on and deadlock over peace talks prevails, Ukraine's top negotiator is in Miami for a meeting with U.S. representatives. Victory Day is one of Russia's most symbolic national events, showcasing patriotic pride. Any disruption, any strike near Moscow could trigger a dangerous new escalation. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The president-elect of the Oxford Union has been removed from office after an election tribunal found her guilty of electoral fraud, reportedly, during the student body's recent polls, according to a report by The Telegraph. The postgraduate student was disqualified after the union's tribunal concluded that she had distributed Oxford Union membership cards to individuals who were not eligible to vote, allegedly. During the proceedings, she was accused of handing out a stack of membership cards on polling day to people who were not entitled to vote, allegedly. She instructed them, reportedly, to cast ballots using the identities of other members, allegedly. The alleged irregularities were first flagged on the 6th of March when several students were reportedly caught voting using other members' identification details. In fact, following the tribunal's verdict, the Oxford Union has announced a re-poll for the president's position, which is scheduled to take place on coming Monday. She had been elected to the role in March. In her election manifesto, she had promised a new access membership fund. Procedural reforms to Thursday debates and greater representation of female speakers at the union, reportedly. Responding to the decision, she has told The Telegraph reportedly that she plans to appeal against the ruling. She also claimed that she had been subjected to racism and harassment, allegedly, during the controversy. Is masculine behavior bad for the planet? Why is this question even being asked? A global study is raising questions over climate change and the role that gender plays. Over 20 scientists from 13 countries say certain masculine lifestyles are accelerating environmental damage faster than many people realize. Our next report telling you more.
A new international research paper has linked masculine behavior patterns with higher environmental damage and larger carbon footprints. The study, published in the journal Norma, International Journal for Masculinity Studies, examined climate politics, industrial practices, food habits, and social attitudes across several countries. Researchers reviewed existing studies on global warming, pollution, and environmental collapse. According to their findings, men on average consume more carbon-intensive products and services, especially when it comes to transportation, tourism, and meat consumption. The global report also claims that men show lower levels of concern about climate change and are generally less active in environmental politics. Researchers say many men resist changing everyday habits, even as climate warnings grow more urgent. A 2025 study from France involving 15,000 participants found that men produced 26% more emissions than women through food and travel habits alone. Another study published last year in the Journal of Environmental Psychology linked masculinity stress with climate denial and resistance to eco-friendly choices. Researchers found that some men avoid sustainable products because they fear appearing less masculine. The global paper also highlights the dominance of men in high-pollution sectors such as heavy industry, industrial agriculture, extraction-based businesses, and militarism. One of the editors of the paper says there is now significant evidence showing the environmental impact of certain male behaviors. Researchers clarified that the problem does not apply equally to all men, adding that wealthy elite men in industrialized Western societies contribute far more to environmental damage than low-income populations in the global South.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.